Hello, class. My name is Sade Austin, and I'm doing the HIV incarcerated presentation with Miss Latori O'Bannon. Miss O'Bannon holds a BSN and an MSN in nursing. Miss Horton is the director of nursing at Fulton County Jail. Ms. Horton, I will be talking to you about my population, which is HIV incarcerated males. Part of the problem is male on male sexual transmission, rape, and transmission through prison tattooing. The estimated prevalence of human immunodeficiency infection is nearly 5 times higher for incarcerated population. Male on male sexual contact and prison tattooing pose a major risk. Inmate and staff sexual contact is also another problem. According to Twisbury, a professor of justice administration at the University of Louisville, who did a study concerning HIV prevention strategies inside and outside prison. The study revealed men who became infected behind bars acknowledge having gay sex there, have reported that their partners were prison staff members and not other inmates. 3/4 of male on male sexual encounters described it as consensual sex. We also had to do what we called a windshield survey, where I had to go into a neighborhood in my community and just kind of assess what was going on in the neighborhood. I went into a neighborhood, and the neighborhood that I went into was in Decatur. And what I assessed from the windshield was I went to Decatur County Jail, and I noted across the street from the jail was a Bell's Bondsman building, a liquor store, and I went a couple of blocks down, and it was a what we call a welfare motel. So what was interesting to me was that I also see a homeless lady, and I knew she was homeless, but I started to ask her questions, and she really didn't want to tell me that she was homeless because I guess she felt, her dignity would have been attacked by admitting that she was homeless. Um, and I also saw a couple of children playing on the outside of this welfare motel. And I began to wonder, where are their role models and what do they see on a daily basis? And, I thought about the whole environment, with the county jail being on one corner and them having inmates for neighbors, and then they got a liquor store across the street. And I'm thinking, like, what do these children have to look forward to, because it's kind of like the odds are already against them. And that was the part of the survey that I had to do. But getting back to the HIV incarcerated male, I thought some of the interventions would be to do mandatory HIV testing of inmates upon entry into the system. Also educate on treatments and prevention measures to decrease transmission, and collaborate with outside facilities to assess the policies and procedures that they have in place at those facilities. Um, I thought some of the short-term goals would be immediate testing upon arrival to the institution, educating the staff and the inmates, and also, again, to collaborate with outside facilities such as government agencies and local state facilities, and also maybe get Center for Disease involved so that they could, kind of educate us on other preventive measures to take to decrease the prevalence of HIV in the facility. Um, I presented my presentation to Ms. Latoya O'Bannon, BSN and MSN. Ms. Horton has been a nursing professional for 16 years. She is currently a director of nursing for the Department of Correction and work at Fulton County Jail. Upon her recommendations, she stated that they have a program called PREA, which stands for Prison Rape Elimination Act. And what that does is it enables the victims to counseling and HIV testing when identified any alleged attacks. It also protects the inmates when alleged staff rape. Inmates cannot consent to sexual activities. And one of the studies that was done, they found that it wasn't always the inmates was the reason for the HIV transmission. They found that staff was also having sex with the inmates. So that has been a major problem. One of the other long-term goals she suggested was providing protection. So I asked Ms. Horton, well, what type of protection should we provide when these are inmates and they're not supposed to be having sex anyway? So Ms. O'Bannon stated that they know that it's going to happen. You have prisoners that's locked up for life, and the reality of it is they're going to have sex. So her analogy to that was that just like they have the needle exchange program, we know addicts are going to use drugs, so we offer them that tool so that they can exchange their dirty needles for clean needles, and that will also help with the decrease in HIV infection. So Ms. Horton O'Bannon stated that this would be the same concept, because also in my research, I found out that the protection measures that the inmates were using they would use gloves as protection. They would rip the gloves apart and try to, use that as a barrier. And what I thought was quite interesting was they also stated that they use saran wrap. Now, can you imagine using saran wrap as a protection measure for HIV? So that was one of her other recommendations that I would like to incorporate into my PowerPoint. Ms. Horton, thank you so much for your time and your attention.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.